Hello, and I'm Scott, and I just want to talk about my science learning center that I created for this assignment. So, what I have here is will it grow or will it know? So, it's basically just following the standard of grow plants from seed and describe how they grow and change compared to adult plants. So, what I really want to happen here is for students to have their own plant, whatever it may be, whatever the teacher decides on. They'll be planting that plant in three different types of soil. I decided that it'd be best to do soil, sand, like nutrient-based soil, sand, and just random dirt that you just find outside. So, and to plant those plants into plastic cups that they'd grab. And then eventually, as time goes on, they'll draw their progress of the plants and how they grow and which plants grew better than the others and stuff like that. So, um, what I aim for this is for them to be planting the plants on the first day. Doing that process will probably take about 15 minutes, and then moving on to um, examining and analyzing plants as the weeks go on. There is a process that will go through this. They'll be learning about the plant cycle beforehand. Obviously, they'll have that knowledge of what plant needs to survive, what stages of a plant go through, and be able to recognize that knowledge as they watch their own plants grow that they make themselves. So what I have here, the standards, I already listed the one, describe changes that occur as a result of habitats, or the habitats being the different soils. The climate will be the same, however, but the soils will not. So, and then lastly, recognize that life in the sun is an important source of energy for living and non-living systems, and some source of energy is needed for all organisms to stay alive and grow. They'll need to know what things are needed in order to help the plant grow. So objectives, students will be able to recognize and record changes of the plant as it grows over time. Students will be able to explain why certain plants grow better in different soils. And students will be able to understand what resources are needed to help a plant survive and grow. So moving on to furniture arrangement. Ideally, I wanted this to be an outside experiment, but I guess that would be kind of hard to store, um, especially just like outside of the school, uh, depending on like weather and stuff like that. Plants can get overdrowned, especially in such a small little cup, and they can get blown over and stuff like that. So maybe it'd be best to have it indoors. But if it is indoors, I would say that it needs to be over a tile floor that they work at the center at, because and a large table, obviously. One, because this stuff can be pretty messy. I can see it all toppling over. Getting into carpet would probably not be easy to clean up, so tile floor would be best, easiest for cleanup, and over a large table allows for that space that some students may need, so they're not over top of each other. Uh, each student for storage, they'll be getting three plastic cups. They'll be filled with whatever soils are needed, and then they'll be placed along the windowsill to get that sun nutrients and energy that they need. Um, Materials, here are the materials I have: plastic cups, potting soil, plant of choice, sand, dirt, pencils, watering can, progress worksheet, which will be placed down below, and that YouTube video that they'll watch beforehand this experiment. This basically just tells them um, how a plant grows. I guess I can click it for you. I have it over here. So we have this video. I'll play a little bit of it. I have it on pretty high speed. So I know that the video didn't really show the audio for that, but there were subtitles, so I guess you could read them. And I was going pretty fast, and I sped up the video. So that's what I'd show them beforehand. It'll show there's more to that video, obviously, and it'll help explain more about the plant cycle process. I said about location, the responsibility and roles I think should be evenly distributed between student and teacher. Students will be responsible for putting their own cups away, watering their own plants, cleaning up after themselves, and the teachers will be responsible for guiding instruction, helping if they need it, putting away any heavy materials, potting soil bag, watering can, etc., and monitoring student work. Just make sure they're on the right track. Help if students need it, they can definitely ask the teacher. The teacher will be monitoring the station during the science time, I believe, on the first day, I should say. Other days, students should be able to independently work on this by themselves. They should be able to grab their own cups and draw what they need to draw for that. But the teacher's always there to help answer questions and guide them in the right direction. Learning alternatives, scaffolding. I think they'll just be learning the natural necessary resources for plants to grow, why they're needed. First day will be spent like I said, creating the homes for plants, and while the others will be spent analyzing results. Instructions, those can be read right there, blah, blah, blah. It also tells why the pencil is included, sequence of activities. So before the activity, like I said, they'll be informed plant cycle. They'll After that they'll dive in the center, planting their own plants, analyzing the growth of those plants as time moves on. So I think this should be a um maybe once or twice a week type of thing. This should maybe take a good couple weeks. It does, as we know, it does take a little bit for plants to grow and go through those stages. So I think a good few weeks, 5, maybe 7 weeks of this activity will help them see the changes over time, once or twice of those weeks for them to write down their results. Groupings, groups of 4 to 5 students allows for less of a jam up at the stations. They'll be have their own space. They'll be able to work. It'll be smooth sailing. Management system, the responsibility process will be taught beforehand. Students encounter the center, so they'll know their own rules before the center even starts. Time, I say the first day would take about 15 to 20 minutes just for them to make the cups themselves and draw their first analyzations, draw their first observations of the cup and in detailed responses. They can do that in their science notebook, and there's also the progress sheet that's attached at the bottom. And then the other days will be about a 10-minute per group cycle. So they'll be, you know, they'll go there, they'll grab their plants, they'll grab their pencils, crayons if they want to draw what's happening, and then they'll draw it in the little boxes provided, and then they can label what stage their plant is currently at and which plant is growing the best and stuff like that. Assessment that'll also be attached to the bottom. Um, After they grow to the full extent. So this will be taken after everything's done. Which soil did the plant grow best in and why? Those questions are all in the assessment at the bottom. So here is the progress sheet. It's not as colorful as I want it to be. I definitely want to make it better, but I'm not the best with Microsoft Word. So this is what I got so far. I would have like pictures of, picture examples of the plants above them, but I couldn't find anything that wasn't either cartoony or covered in, what was it, stock images labeled all over it. So what I have here is soil, sand, and dirt. And the first one obviously will be the first week, and they'll draw their cups, cup representations here, and then they can label it what stage it's at on the side. They can color it however they see fit, and then each other box is made for the other following weeks. I should have incorporated a date. I should add a date into here so they know what day they looked at it and how much it grew per day. And then down below we have the questions that'll be asked at the end. There's only 4, but I think they cover about a majority of what the lesson's aiming for, the Learning Center is aiming for. So which soil did the plant grow best in and why? They can use their own evidence to support that statement, and obviously from the information they've learned throughout the center itself. Is there a soil the plant did not grow at all in? Why do you think that happened? Um, I think, to me, it'll probably be the dirt. Dirt itself doesn't really have doesn't have the nutrients, especially if it's, you know, dirt that doesn't have the soil and stuff necessary for a plant to grow in. Um, what nutrients does a plant need to survive? So, like, sunlight, water, um, temperature, climate, stuff like that. They'll all learn that stuff. And then when in the beginning they learn the stage of the plant cycle, this is kind of a refresher. What stage of the plant cycle is shown in the picture above? They'll be able to explain what stage that is. And I just gave them one example just to see if they got the whole gist. And they'll be able to show me that. This all get turned in at the end too. So they'll be able to show me what stages they know and from just their labeling up here in the progress sheet. So I'm pretty sure this is it. This is all I got for my learning center. I hope this is what is expected. And yeah, so awesome.